What's up, party people? It's your old pal F here. Welcome to yet another edition of the completely unrehearsed, completely without a script, completely without any preparation whatsoever edition of my little corner of the interwebs called F Bombs. Today, I want to talk about the relationship between the audience and the creator. Um, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, not just as it pertains to cartoons and animation, but how it has changed with the uh, just supernova expansion of the internet and social media and all that stuff. But I'll get to that in a second. Um, before we begin, let me just say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the sound of my nasally voice. Thank you for watching. I'm actually hoping that by the end of this video, you'll have an even better understanding of just how much I appreciate you being here. But before we begin, please let me state that the reason that I put absolutely no production value into these videos is because I am saving all of that to go towards the cartoons that we make here at Fountain's Pen Cartoons. While I'm making this video, a whole bunch of my crew members and staff and just amazing, amazing, amazing collaborators, which is really what they are. They're my collaborators, are working tirelessly to make new, original, free cartoons that we are just bringing to you. We have no Kickstarter. We have no, source of. We have no Patreons. We have no nothing. We are just doing this for the love of the craft. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be that way, but for now, we are keen to just sort of build our audience by showing this is who we are, this is what we're capable of, this is the kind of stuff we want to do, and we hope you'll join us for that. So please, if you're watching this video, when you're done with this video, check out the cartoons that we've also got here. Check out the other videos that we've done. And if you like what you see, if you like our content, please, please, please do all the things. Like, share, subscribe. And I'm also a big believer in word of mouth. Just talk to your friends about, hey, I saw this thing. They talked about this, or I saw this funny cartoon. It was all about that, and blah, blah, blah. I'm a big believer in the sort of grassrootsness of this whole indie animation thing. And boy, when it comes to indie animation, they don't get much indier than us. Because, like I said, we are doing this without a budget. We're doing this without any kind of financial support for now whatsoever. We are strictly doing it for you. So please, 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 like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. We would greatly appreciate it. It means the world to us. Leave us comments. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We appreciate your presence, and we appreciate what you have to say. All right. Having said that, being a man of a certain age, I have been known from time to time to get into arguments with people on social media. And, I never go out of my way to get into arguments with people on social media, but it's just one of those things. I'm an opinionated person. I'm a bit of a loudmouth, in case you can't tell. And I have thoughts, and I have feelings, and I have been known to express them, and I've been known to express them poorly. That being said, when it comes to the realm of cartoons and animations, I feel that as a quarter century veteran of not just the industry, but the craft and the art form and all that stuff, I feel as though my opinions carry some weight, and therefore I get very, I get very emphatic about the opinions that I have. But that's not what this is about. What has happened on more than one occasion on social media, somebody will say something, and I'll see it, and I'll reply back, and I will state my opinion, and an argument will ensue. Now, let me make something abundantly clear. I love arguing. I think arguing is a good thing. Now, I don't mean fighting. I mean arguing. I mean carrying on a progressive, friendly discussion, even if it gets heated. If there are disagreements, I enjoy those. I consider those intellectually stimulating, and I have a brain that just never shuts off and craves constant challenges. So I look for stuff to sort of spar with people on. Now, the minute somebody gets rude, in my opinion, it's just kind of like, well, all right, it's game on. But I really, really enjoy the process of having a good animated discussion with people about, cartoons, animation, or for that matter, anything else. And what sort of prompted this video is, on more than one occasion, I have gotten into a discussion with somebody that I didn't know, somebody that's just out there like me in the zeitgeist, sort of stating their opinions about stuff. And on more than one occasion, I've had people say to me, what do you care what I think? I'm just a nobody. And that always makes me really sad, because let me say something to all of you who may or may not be watching this. You could be watching this and going, oh, it's F again. F is going off. F is talking and talking and talking. I can't stand F. Or you could be watching this and, going, yay, F, go F, whatever. You're not nobody. No matter who you are, you're somebody. And no matter how fiercely you disagree with me, no matter how much you might dislike me, no matter how much you might dislike the content that I create, past, present, or future, no matter what, even if I have gotten in horrible, rancorous discussions with you, please, 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 if you're hearing the sound of my voice, believe me when I tell you, you are not nobody. You are somebody. You have value. I, at least on some level, appreciate you. And by the way, I don't think I'm going too far out on a limb when I say this is a sentiment we all share at Fountain's Pen Cartoons. We are a diverse group of people. We have people from all over the globe working on these cartoons. We have people from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of walks of life, and I'm quite certain we have disagreements about things. But the fact of the matter is, we work together, and one of the things that I'm kind of enjoying about this little experiment that I've started here is that it's proving something that I feel like I've known my whole life, is that people who disagree and people who, don't see eye to eye in everything can not only work together, but work together and enjoy it. I think that's something that's an art form in and of itself that is getting lost, and it's just a calamitous shame, in my opinion. Again, that's not to say that everybody has to be besties. Not everyone is besties, but there is a way to interact with people that you disagree with that does not have to be toxic or poisonous. And going back to my original point, if you're hearing this, and even if you're not hearing this, if you're out there in the world, you matter. You are not nobody. You are somebody. And I've even had people go so far as to say, you're the big shot animator from Fairly Odd Parents, and I'm just a nobody. Why should you care what I think? And again, in my head, I'm thinking, I care what you think because you're another human being. You're another person, and you have value. And I guess if there's a point to this video, it's that I want you to take a moment and think about the fact that you do not need to be a creator. You do not need to be an artist. You do not need to be, an influencer. You don't need to be any of those things to be important. you matter. Just who you are matters. And the more I thought about this, the more I thought about the fact that because this is what I do. I get a thought in my head and I deconstruct it to the point where for most people it would be no fun whatsoever, but for me that's just me just getting started. I thought about the relationship between the arts and those who interact with the arts. I'm not just talking about cartoons. I'm talking about literally any kind of art or media, whatever, however you want to picture it. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's musical theater. I don't care if it's experimental, performance art. I don't care if it's your blog. I don't care if you're John Bon Jovi. No matter what, if you are creating something that is meant to be shared with others, the others play an enormous part of that equation. That is to say, without you, there is no us. Now, I don't know how much you know about me, but I do not have a traditional animation background. I didn't go to Cal Arts. I didn't go to any, fancy animation schools. My degree is in fine art. I don't know why that is, because I always knew I wanted to be a cartoonist, but they didn't have an animation program where I went to college. And they certainly didn't have anything that even remotely smacked of cartooning. But my point is, I'm a classically trained artist, and so I think about the arts and art a lot, not just in the context of cartoons, but in the context of the world as a whole. And I've heard many of my colleagues, and by the way, this is an entirely valid position to take if you are an artist, is to say, my art is for me, it is my self-expression, and what other people think of it does not matter. If you are an artist, that is an entirely valid position to take, and I am not taking away anything from you if that is your position. However, here at Fountain's Pen Cartoons, and I feel like here amongst the media arts, as I like to call them, or the commercial media arts, where the idea is we are out to reach lots of different people, you can't be that dismissive about it. You can't say, well, I'm making this for me. I'm doing this for me. Well, if you're doing it for you, why are you working so hard to put it out there? And consequently, the audience, I hate the word consumer because I don't want to think of you guys as consumers, and I don't think of you guys as consumers. I think of you as collaborators because, as I said, without you, there is no us. I knew from a very early age that no matter what kind of art I was going to get into, whether it was comic books, whether it was animation, whether it was, whatever it was, I knew that I wanted audience interaction. I wanted people to engage with the stuff that I created. And it wasn't enough for me to simply write down stories. It wasn't enough for me to simply, draw out stories. I needed and I wanted people to interact with them. And for me, that was part of the internal mandate. It's like, this must be done. This is what you must do. So when you put it in those terms, the audience is an inseparable and frankly monumentally important part of the equation. So to hear someone say, "I'm a nobody," or "Why do you care what I think?" Again, I just go back to because you matter, because you're out there, you're another person that I'm engaging with, and one of the one of the things that always used to drive my agent nuts when I was back in Los Angeles is I would go on cartoon pitches to networks, and every time you would take a cartoon pitch to a network, one of the first questions they would ask you is, who's your intended audience? Who's your demographic? And you're supposed to say something, this is a show for boys age 7 to 12, or this is a show for girls age 13 to 16, or this whatever. Um, and I always hated that because I never created anything with a demographic in mind. And my agent would always tell me, she'd be like, no, you've got to come up with an actual answer for that. You've got to come up with a demographic to tell them. And every single time I was asked that question, I would say, my demographic is people who want to be entertained. That's who I'm reaching out to. If you do not wish to be entertained, then I'm not your guy. But if you're looking for a source of entertainment that maybe you had not given any thought to before, give my stuff a try. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. But that's who I was out to reach. I wanted to reach anybody and everybody. Now I knew not everybody and not everybody was gonna like what I did, and that's fine. People have different tastes. That's life. But I was certainly never out to say I only want this group to like my work, or I only want that group to like. I only want people who are into a certain type of music, or I only want people who are into a certain type of this or that. My stories and my ideas were really intended to be put in front of everybody. And like I said, not everybody's going to respond to it, and that's fine. But the stories themselves are intended to have sort of universal themes that if you look closely enough, you can relate to. And I know this sounds like I'm kind of inflating myself to an almost comical degree, but the fact of the matter is, and maybe one day I'll do a really long video about this, I can take you to any cartoon that I directed, and even a handful of ones that I just storyboarded for, and I can tell you what my underlying sort of agenda was, or my underlying message was, or what sort of themes I was trying to evoke with that cartoon. It didn't matter how ridiculous the cartoon was. It didn't matter what the script said. I myself would put in a little piece of myself and go, this is my little message in a bottle that I'm going to put into this cartoon. If I must cite an example, and this is where it becomes apparent that I have no production value on this little show, because this is the part where I would show clips, but I don't know how to do that. So anyway, if you go to the episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot, the episode called Last Action Zero, where Brad joins the Skyway Patrol, on that show, we were not given scripts. We were given outlines, so I can't remember how detailed the outline was. But the sort of theme of the episode was about how Brad wanted to play a more important role in the hero work that Jenny always did. He was disappointed by the fact that he was always sort of standing on the sidelines and he was never the hero, and so as a result, he joins the Skyway Patrol. And as a result, the two of them have a bit of a falling out. There's an argument, a whole bunch of stuff ensues where the two of them are separated for practically the entire episode. But then there's a time at the very end of the episode where the two of them have sort of discovered that they work better together than they do apart, and it is in that moment that I have them grasp hands, and it is only by grasping hands and working as a team that the villain at the end is defeated. Again, them grabbing hands, and there's other various symbolism throughout the course of that show. That's one of my favorite episodes for Easter eggs. But point is, the entire time I was making that, I was thinking out there, you know what, there's probably only going to be like one or two people who even notice or appreciate the subcontext here, but it is those people that I'm reaching out to. I don't care if it's one, I don't care if it's 50, I don't care what it is, but or if nobody does, I'm putting this in here. I'm putting this subtext in here, and if even just one person interacts with it and goes, that's really interesting, that makes me think about this, that, or the other, then that'll be mission accomplished. And seeing as how the shows have been, running for over 25 years now, I have to think at least one or two people have gotten it by now. But my point is, me doing all that would have meant nothing if there was not an audience that I was speaking to. And look, I cannot speak for any of my other colleagues throughout the course of my career, but I can tell you this with absolute honesty and sincerity, that the entire time that I was working at Disney and at Nickelodeon, for Cartoon Network and for Warner Brothers, for every single thing I've ever worked on, I was always thinking about the audience. I was always thinking about you folks. Um, how will this reach people? How will this affect them? What will this make people think? How can I toy with them throughout the course of this episode to brighten their day or to get them to think about something in a way that they hadn't thought about it before? For me, not just as an artist, but as an animator, that's half the reason for doing it, is thinking to myself, there are people out there engaging with this and interacting with this, and everyone's going to have a different reaction. And for me, that was part of the reason to do it, was knowing that there were actual individual human beings out there, each of them having a subjective response to the thing that I'm helping to bring to them. So again, as you continue to watch this video and as you hopefully go on to watch, whatever is on your agenda next, I just want to state it flat outright in plain English, in open terms and sincere terms. Why should I care what you think? Because you matter. You are the audience. You are the people we are doing it for. Again, I don't even like the word audience. You're part of the process. You're part of the art. You are an ingredient to this that cannot be taken out, because otherwise, it really is just screaming into the void. Without you, there is no us. And I want you to understand how important you are. So as you continue to watch videos, my video, our cartoons here, other people's videos, I hope you walk away from this video thinking to yourself, yeah, you know what? I'm not just a consumer. I'm not just a thing that's out there taking this stuff in and not really, none of it really matters. It does matter. You matter. You are important. You are an individual out there in the world. And I, for one, am thoroughly grateful that you're here, thoroughly grateful that even for just this moment, you are interacting with us. And I would encourage you to, when you are done watching this video, think of yourself as being maybe a little bit more significant than you were before. Embrace the fact that, no, you are not just a consumer. You are a part of this. And it would not be the same without you. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please check out the other cartoons. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, please, like I said, give a like, share, subscribe. Please support what we're doing here, because we are trying this on just such a grassroots level that really we need all the eyeballs we can get. We need all the voices we can get, sort of spreading the word about us. So once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you walk away from this realizing just how important you are. Zigga zigga, party people.